Dormail, home of a great night's sleep.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Today it's a sad day for us. So Sherry and I would like to say that we dedicate this show to a very old and wonderful friend, don't we, Sherry?
Yes, it's incredible, and he was in every single way, John Challis. Boise, Monty, you name it, he's been in it, and he will be in my heart forever.
And in mine too. And we love you, Chalice.
We love you.
We bet you're setting heaven alight with your hilarious tales and laughter. He was the best man in the world. And this is from the WonderBirds.
I only had the honour of working with him once doing some Shakespeare, and all we did was laugh all the time backstage and on stage. But no change there.
No.
So now we had such fun, didn't we, Dee, last week with wonderful Celia Imrie, that we have another show.
I know. Yes. So brilliant.
So here she is for a second time. There was so much to say, we couldn't stop her. Here we go.
Wonderful Celia Imrie.
I want to talk about the difference between doing you've just done an American television series, or you've been doing 5 series of an American television series. Did you find it very different to work over there than it is to work over here?
Not really, actually. I mean, I did do something which there was a moment when I thought, right, okay, so it's now or never. But I go to America and I try my luck. And that's honestly what I did. I jumped on a ship and I thought, I'm going to go over there and I'm just going to see what happens. Something I thought I would never do, but I realized that, okay, so it's now or never. Yeah. And, I did the rounds of casting directors and things like that, and had to be, quite patient and, just put myself about a bit. And it was absolute pure luck. This part in Better Things, I don't know if any of you have watched it, but it's I play this eccentric, unfiltered mother of Pamela Adlon. She says what the hell she likes. It's absolute bliss.
Fantastic.
And I went to the casting director, and the part had been cast already, but and she said, what a shame. But then as things work out, the actress in mind got offered a pilot 3 times the amount of money, so decided to go for the pilot. So suddenly the part became free. So it was total luck that I was then classed as a local because I was there. That makes all the difference to the money.
Of course.
And anyway, that's how it really happened. And we're now just about to do series 5. And I absolutely love it. But I did have to take a chance and jump that ship just to see. But the work ethic is much the same. I mean, Pamela Adlon is extraordinary. She directs it, writes it, is the star. And, she works absolutely non-stop. So it's not that different, actually, I would say, except that they always have weekends off, which was a bit of a surprise.
Yes.
Wow. Amazing.
Rarely do we?
So when do you go back?
No.
Obviously you were delayed by lockdown and you've just started again.
Well, no, it's even better than that, Debbie. I mean, they're coming over here to do my scenes here.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Coming to you. Gosh.
So, I mean, it's quite a lot of pressure, actually. I better get ready. But they're filming already in Los Angeles. So, yeah, no, it's an absolute joy.
That is fantastic and completely different again from the other part. When did you do the filming, the Keeping Faith? Because that came out.
Well, good point. It was in the February. In fact, I was quite unusually grand and said, listen, can I possibly put all my scenes more together rather than in a great big gap? And actually, if I think about it, on the Thursday before our first lockdown was my last day. I got on the train from Cardiff, and then on, I suppose it was the Monday, I was off on a train to France. So it was
Wow.
that close. What are
Wow.
you talking about? 19? No, not
20?
20, I suppose. Yes.
Yes,
January,
yes.
February,
Yes.
before the
20.
lockdown. March.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the end of March.
We started this show. Lockdown started on the Friday, I think, or the Thursday, and we started the show the day lockdown started, wasn't it, girls? Or
We
the day
did,
after?
we
Yeah.
did.
Oh, so
Absolutely.
it wasn't as a result of how to keep ourselves sane during lockdown. It was
No, it was before, really.
Ah.
It
Just
was,
before.
We
as it
knew
was
we were
coming, yeah.
insane. We knew we were insane already. So
Yeah.
You know
it
what was
just-
going
yeah.
to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what a marvelous team you are. Is it always you four, or do you have
No.
people coming in and
Yeah,
out?
there are others.
Most of the time, Celia, most of the time. But we're the sort of the originals, if you like.
Mm,
Yeah.
fantastic. It's
And I think
Thank
it kept us all sane, because I suppose for ages we didn't have anybody else that came in, but we were doing 4 shows a week for
Yeah.
ages, and
Long
it was
time.
just nice to be able to connect with each other, and also the audience were connecting with us, and we've got, I think it's 15 million hits, so people were starting to really watch us. We became people's friends during that time. It's been fantastic.
But you see, I take my hat and coat off to you all, because you didn't wait to ask to be danced. I'm imagining that you got it together yourselves and
We
said,
did.
"Let's do it." Now
We did.
that's fantastic, you see, and unusual. So hats off, really.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, darling.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
of course.
That's
Thank you.
very reassuring and lovely. Thank you, Celia.
Mm, yes.
Celia, I wanted to ask you, it said, I read somewhere yesterday about you doing, did you learn how to use a trapeze at one point in your life?
Well, you see, that's the other thing that's so aren't we lucky, actually? Because I never thought, for instance, that I would ever go to Shrewsbury. I never thought that I would go to Bulgaria. I never thought I would go to Swaziland. I've been to all these places, and Luton filming, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and similarly, I never thought that I would be asked to be a trapeze artist. But in Love Sarah, the film that I did a couple of, I suppose it was 18 months ago or something, my character, yes, she was a trapeze artist in a circus. So I said, oh, I have to go to a class. I think I only managed 1 or 2 classes, but actually, what a thrill to be able to do that. And
Oh my God,
and there was
terrifying.
well, yes, but I mean, I was fairly near the ground, and just had to sort of pose a bit, But I did do it, and
Wow.
Well
my
done.
goodness, when I got home, I was completely covered in bruises, because you forget,
Yes, of course.
when you let yourself go, but it
Yeah.
was something I thought I'd never ever do, but I
No.
loved it.
That's wonderful.
And of course, the marigold, going out
Oh.
there, because oh God, I love that
Oh.
film so much.
love
Both
that
of
film.
them.
Well, I can't think of a more of a dream job. First of all,
Yes.
because I think India is one of those places that you love or loathe. Now, I
Yeah.
understand both, actually. I happened to have been there years ago on a British Council tour of Merchant of Venice, and I
Right.
fell in love with the place completely. The colours, the smells, the music, the smiles. I absolutely adored it. But then that cast,
Oh,
John Madden directing, Ol Parker writing,
oh,
Dream.
really, I had to pinch myself quite. And luckily, and this is, I know you'll understand, I was of an age where, yes, I do have wrinkles, because otherwise I don't think I'd have got the part. You know what I mean? Because you had to. You couldn't be,
Yeah.
you had to be of your age.
yes.
So thank
Absolutely.
God.
And was it
That's a relief.
fantastic filming? I mean, was it a hard shoot, or was it as beautiful as it looked?
Yes, I mean, the smell every now and again does feel as if you're in a room full of old farts. Not us, by the way. But, you know what I mean? And also the heat was so
Yeah.
Yes.
high that you had to have an umbrella to take you from your little caravan to the set. It was
Yes.
absolutely intense. But you didn't mind that. I mean,
Whatever, yeah.
and because of the two dames, Dame Judy and Dame Mags, we were put up in the most luxury hotels.
Oh,
And
Which
yes,
were at the same time mind-blowing, but you only had to go outside the door and find a little girl looking for a cabbage leaf, and it was quite hard, because the
God.
extreme was so
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
It's one to another, isn't it? Really. I mean, if you are just going, when you're talking about extremes, I'm thinking about that film. Then I suddenly thought about, Acorn Antiques. That's an extreme from one to the other. I mean, that wonderful scene with Julie Walters carrying. I mean, how on earth did you? It must have been the funniest moment of your life, not to be able to laugh.
Are you talking about the suits?
Yes.
Yes. I mean, Duncan and I never got through it in rehearsal. We just never did, and got quite told off actually. But it was impossible because we knew how long the whole thing was going to take. Because we knew how far the kitchen door was.
Yeah.
But we also knew that once in front of an audience, if we'd blown it, it would have absolutely ruined it, because the audience had to go that journey to the kitchen and back again. And actually, if you look very, very closely, I know I've told this before, but if you look very, very closely, you'll see me biting the inside of my lip,
Sucking your
so
cheeks
hard
in.
that I have blood in my mouth, actually, if you watch carefully. But no, it was bliss, wasn't it? I mean,
It was the most extraordinary scene ever.
wonderful.
But Duncan and I, on the whole, were the straight men in the proceedings. And very often, if Julie or Victoria were not in the scene with us, then it perhaps wouldn't make the programme. I think we did one play school sketch together, which we love. But of course, somebody has to be straight, and that was very often our note: play it straight, play it straight.
Excellent.
I loved this shot because it did remind me of the kind of Crossroads days. I just love the waiting to come on, before, after action. I mean, it was so beautifully crafted, wasn't it?
Yes, and I don't think we could ever have known how it was going to go.
No,
because I do remember also it was only, I think, about 7 minutes at the end of the sketch show, and the sketches were very finely tuned and quite short, all of them. Then suddenly we'd get to this bit at the end, which we never did in front of an audience, by the way. That was another interesting no, it was always pre-recorded, so we didn't know how it was going to go. But I do remember clearly seeing one of the cameramen thinking, dear God, what on earth is this? What are they doing? In the middle of this show, what's going on? Absolutely was embarrassed and just sort of couldn't look the way I was banging the telephone or I was picking it up before it rang. Just really embarrassed. But of course, by the end of the show, he was using his camera to, clonk Duncan on the head, or the operator, was banging him, so they were all joining in. But to begin with, we had no idea.
So you never worked in front of an audience?
Not for Acorn Antiques, no. That was always pre-recorded. The sketches were, but that was particularly pre-recorded the day before. So very often, as I say, we didn't really know how it was going to go down. And it was only sort of on week 7 or 8 that you realized I only had 2 customers in my shop and they never bought anything. You know what I mean? So
it's a bit like when you're a child, isn't it? You play shops. Yeah.
Yes.
It's funny, Celia, because when I first started, when I left RADA, the first job I did was with Stanley Baxter at London Weekend Television, and I did his comedy show, and he never allowed an audience in. The seats were there, but no audience.
Really?
So, all the sketches I did was to nothing, and he did all those fabulous sketches of his. He did to nothing,
Really?
and then he would wait behind. They would bring the audience in, and he'd be in the box, and he'd watch them react, and then it
Wow.
would be edited.
Ah.
So
God,
maybe
I
it's to do. He hated audiences because he said they ruined everything.
Really? I love Stanley Baxter. I think he's absolute genius.
He's
mean,
amazing,
brilliant.
and he was absolutely just the most wonderful man too, which makes it all worthwhile. He was
Yes,
gorgeous. He
yes.
still is.
Still alive,
He still is. He
Yes.
still is.
Yes, yes.
Funnily enough, I invited him to my book launch of Happy Hoofer, and he came.
Oh.
I was so excited.
Did you?
Yeah.
How
Marvellous.
lovely.
Wonderful.
Oh
wonderful.
wow!
Mm.
Do
Are
you have
writing-
plans
Celia,
for a
are you
new
writing another book at the moment?
I have one up my sleeve, which is
Ooh.
going to be another one set in Nice and with a true story background. It's in sort of, it's just up my sleeve and I'm just musing on it at the moment.
Right.
But I've
How long does it take you normally, Celia, to write a novel?
I would say about 2 years altogether. I mean,
Right.
There's quite a lot of sort of note corrections and all that sort of
Sure.
thing. That you have
Yes,
to do, which is
absolutely.
quite time consuming. But yes, I would say 2 years probably is
Yes.
about right.
Celia, when did you
Yes.
first start working with Vic?
When? Well,
Hmm.
no, that's very interesting, Harriet, actually. She told me that there was one New Year's Eve when she didn't want to go out particularly. And it was when I was doing a sketch show called 81 Take 2, in which I dressed up as Princess Diana, believe it or not, because it was that year. And I also got to sing a song a la Noel Gordon leaving Crossroads, funnily enough. Vic saw it and thought, oh, well, maybe, and then invited me onto her show. We'd known each other before because she'd seen me in a pantomime in Derby when I was so nervous she was in the audience, I fell over.
Oh, darling.
So maybe all that helped. It was a long, long time ago.
It was. And I remember, because I did the workshop for Avon Antiques, the musical.
Of
with
course.
you guys.
Of
And
course.
and I remember we were doing one of our walks, training walks for the breast cancer charity.
Yes.
And we were walking up a hill in Hampstead Heath, and she picked up an acorn, and that was the moment she was going to do the musical. And you were absolutely brilliant in that.
Well, thank you.
Brilliant.
I mean, it was a joy to do. It was a pretty extraordinary transition, though, from a 7-minute
Absolutely.
Yes.
to a great big musical. And I was
And 8 shows a
encouraged.
week. 8
Yes.
shows a week.
8 shows a week. Yes.
Honestly,
yes.
Celia, you have been the most incredible guest. Thank you
Hear,
so
hear.
much. I mean, there's so much
I'm-
more we could talk about. We could be doing this show for the next 10 years because we haven't even touched the sides.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
unfortunately, we have to go.
I
because-
think you're magnificent, all of you, because you've made this yourselves. And actually, it's been a total joy from beginning to end. And very
thank you.
unlike the usual talk, because you're
Yes.
all so full of life and so
And
radiant.
free.
free.
You can
Yes.
say what
Not
you
censored.
like.
Say what we like.
No.
Not censored too much.
And
Not
very,
censored.
very glamorous, if I may say so. All
Well,
of you.
we try.
Thank you, dear.
We do.
We've been up since 4, dear.
Yes.
Don't know why.
3:30 actually. Thank you, Celia.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. So, oh my goodness, she is just amazing, isn't she?
She is.
Wonderful.
I mean,
Keeps
you
giving.
can't stop her, can you? She could be on all week.
I know. We could have had 2 more shows with her, or we'll get her back
Yes.
anyway. Yeah, absolutely. But we've got
Brilliant.
another fabulous guest on Friday, the wonderful Sid Owen.
Oh,
Yes.
well, lots of stories there.
Absolutely.
Can't wait.
See you Friday,
See you on
girls.
Friday.
See you
Bye,
Friday.
bye.
Bye.
Dormeo, home of a great night's sleep.